My name is Jason. I am 22 years old. I live in a small apartment near my college. But a few days every week, I go to my mom's house. I like going there. It feels warm. It feels like home. My mom, Linda, always smiles when she sees me. She hugs me and says, "You look tired. Did you eat?" She always worries about me. She is kind. She is soft. But things are not always easy there. My mom got married again 3 years ago. My stepdad's name is Mark. He is not a bad man. He works hard. He fixes things. He likes cars. Old cars, small cars, even toy cars. He spends a lot of time in the garage. The garage is like his world. Sometimes I think he likes the garage more than the house. I try to respect him. I really do. I say hello. I ask about his day. I try to help when I can. But we are very different. He is strict. He has many rules. Some rules feel strange to me. Some rules feel old. One rule is about food. Mark believes that the person who cooks must eat last. Always last. No question, no change, no excuse. The first time I heard this rule, I felt confused. I remember that day clearly. I cooked pasta. I worked hard on it. I cut vegetables. I boiled water. I added sauce. I made it nice. When the food was ready, I sat down. I was hungry, very hungry. But Mark stopped me. He said, "No, the cook eats last." I felt surprised. I felt a little embarrassed. I didn't understand. But I said nothing. I just smiled and said, "Okay." Since then, I always follow this rule at his house, even if I feel tired, even if I feel very hungry. I wait, I sit, I watch. I let my mom and Mark start first. Then I eat. It feels strange. It feels unfair sometimes. But I don't want problems. I don't want to fight. I just want peace. Also, I like cooking. It makes me feel calm. It makes me feel happy. When I cook, I forget stress. I forget school. I forget problems. So I still cook at my mom's house. Almost every time I visit, I cook dinner. My mom always thanks me. She says, "You don't have to do this." But I say, "I want to." And it's true, I do want to. But every time, there is one small problem. Mark is always in the garage. Every time dinner is ready, I have to go and call him. "Dinner is ready," I say. He always answers the same way. "Okay, I'll be there soon." Always the same words. Always soon. But soon is not really soon. Sometimes I wait 5 minutes, sometimes 10, sometimes even 20. The food gets cold. I feel tired. My stomach hurts from hunger. But I wait. Because of the rule. Because of respect. Because I don't want trouble. One evening, I remember, I cooked chicken and rice. It smelled good. It looked good. My mom sat at the table. She looked at me and smiled. "This looks great," she said. I smiled too, but inside I felt tired. I had a long day at school. I had exams. I had no sleep. I just wanted to eat, just eat and rest. I went to the garage. I opened the door slowly. Mark was there, sitting at his table, working on a small car model. He was very focused. He didn't even look at me at first. I said, "Dinner is ready." He didn't answer right away. After a few seconds, he said, "Okay, I'll be there in a minute." A minute. I heard that many times before. I went back to the kitchen. I sat down. My mom looked at me. "Did you tell him?" she asked. "Yes," I said. "He said he's coming." So we waited. 1 minute passed, then 2, then 5. The food was still on the table. The steam was gone. The chicken was getting cold. I looked at the clock. I looked at my mom. She looked tired, too. We said nothing. We just waited. I felt something inside me, a small feeling. It was not anger, not yet. It was something like frustration, like a small fire starting. I told myself, just wait, just a little more. So I waited. 10 minutes passed. I stood up again. "I'll call him again," I said. My mom nodded. I walked back to the garage. This time, I felt a little different, a little less patient, a little more tired. I opened the door again. Mark was still there, still working, still focused. I said, "Dinner is ready, we are waiting." He said, Yeah, just 1 more minute." Again. 1 more minute. I felt my chest tighten. I felt tired. I felt hungry. I felt ignored. But I said nothing. I just nodded and walked away. Back at the table, I sat down again. I looked at the food. I looked at my hands. I felt my stomach growl. It was loud. I felt embarrassed, even though no one said anything. My mom gave me a small smile. "He'll come," she said softly. I nodded, but inside, I wasn't sure. Another 5 minutes passed. 15 minutes total. 15 minutes of waiting. 15 minutes of cold food. 15 minutes of silence. Something inside me started to change. I thought, why am I waiting like this? I thought, I cooked this food. I thought, I'm hungry too. I felt confused. I felt a little angry now. Not big anger, just small anger. But it was there. I looked at my mom. She looked at the door. She was still waiting. I looked at the food again. I took a deep breath. And for the first time, I asked myself a question. Is this really fair? I didn't know the answer yet, but I knew one thing. I was very, very hungry. I sat there and looked at the food. The chicken was not hot anymore. The rice was dry. I could see the steam was gone. Everything looked quiet. Too quiet. My stomach made a noise again. I felt embarrassed. I looked at my mom. She heard it too. She gave me a small smile, but it looked tired. Very tired. I said softly, "Maybe we should start." She looked at me, then looked at the garage door. She didn't answer right away. I could see she was thinking. She always thinks about peace. She always tries to keep things calm. "He said 1 minute," she said slowly. I nodded, but inside, I felt something heavy. 1 minute, again. Always 1 minute. I looked at the clock. I counted in my head. 1, 2, 3, 10 seconds. Nothing. No sound from the garage. No footsteps. No door opening. I took a deep breath. I felt tired. I felt hungry. I felt done. "I can't wait anymore," I said quietly. My mom looked at me again. This time, she didn't stop me. She didn't say no. She just sighed a little and looked down at the table. That was the moment. A small moment, a simple moment. But it felt big to me. I picked up my fork. My hand felt a little shaky. I don't know why. Maybe because I knew I was breaking a rule. Maybe because I knew something might happen. I looked at the door one more time. Still nothing, so I took a bite. The food was not hot, but it was still good. I felt a little better. Just a little. My stomach felt happy. My body felt calm for a second. Then I took another bite. My mom slowly picked up her fork too. She looked unsure, but she started eating with me. We didn't talk. We just ate. Quiet, slow, careful. I listened for footsteps. I listened for the door. I felt nervous. Every second felt long, very long. I told myself, maybe he won't care. Maybe it's okay. But another voice in my head said, he will care. He always cares. 5 minutes passed. We were almost done eating. Then I heard it. The garage door opened. My heart jumped. I felt it in my chest. Boom, boom, boom. I stopped moving. My fork stayed in my hand. Footsteps came closer, slow steps, heavy steps. Then he walked into the kitchen. Mark stood there. He looked at the table. He looked at me. He looked at my plate. I was still eating. He stopped walking. Just stopped. Like a statue. The room felt cold, very cold. For a few seconds, no one said anything. I felt my face get hot. I felt small, very small. Then he spoke. His voice was not loud at first, but it was hard. You started eating? I swallowed my food quickly. My mouth felt dry. I was hungry, I said. He looked at me again. His eyes were serious, not angry yet, but serious. You know the rule, he said. I nodded. Yes, I know. Then why are you eating before me? He asked. His voice was louder now. I didn't know what to say. My mind felt empty. I just felt tired. So tired. I called you, I said slowly. Twice. You said 1 minute, but it was long. He shook his head. That doesn't matter. The cook eats last. That's how it works. I felt something rise inside me again. That small fire. Now it was bigger. I cooked, I said. I was waiting. We were waiting. My voice was still calm, but inside I felt heat. I felt frustration. I felt like I wanted to say more. He stepped closer to the table. You should wait, he said. It's respect. Respect? That word hit me hard. I thought, what about my time? What about my hunger? But I didn't say that. Not yet. I waited 15 minutes, I said instead. He crossed his arms. So, you can wait more. That was it. Something inside me broke a little. Wait more. Always wait. Always follow. Always quiet. I looked at him. I looked at my mom. She was silent. She looked down at her plate. She didn't say anything. I felt alone. I'm not a child, I said softly. The words came out before I could stop them. The room became very still. Mark looked at me, surprised. I didn't say you were a child, he said. But you treat me like one, I said. My voice was shaking now. I cook. I help. I come here. I try to be good. But I have to sit and wait like I don't matter. I felt my eyes get wet. I didn't want to cry. Not in front of him. Not now. He looked at me for a long moment. Then his face changed. Now he looked angry. "You are being disrespectful," he said. "In my house." That hurt. In my house. Not our house, not family. His house. I felt my chest tighten again. "I didn't mean to be disrespectful," I said quickly. "You should not eat before me again." He cut me off. His voice was strong now, final. I felt my hands shake. "I said sorry," I said. I was hungry." But he didn't listen. He just shook his head and walked to his seat. My mom still said nothing. I looked at my plate. I didn't feel hungry anymore. The food in my mouth felt heavy. I put my fork down. "I'm done," I said quietly. No one stopped me. No one said anything. I stood up slowly. My legs felt weak. My heart felt heavy. I walked to the sink and put my plate there. The sound felt loud, too loud. Then I went to the door. I picked up my bag. I looked back one time. My mom was still sitting. Mark was eating now. Like nothing happened. Like everything was normal. But it didn't feel normal. Not to me. "I'm going home," I said. My voice was soft, almost breaking. My mom looked up. "Already?" she asked. I nodded. "Yeah, I'm tired." That was true. I was tired. Very, very tired. Not just my body, my heart too. I opened the door and walked out. The air outside was cool. I took a deep breath. One breath. Then another. I walked to my car slowly. My hands were still shaking. I sat inside and closed the door. For a moment, I just sat there. Quiet. Alone. Then I whispered to myself, was I wrong? I didn't know. I really didn't know. I drove home slowly that night. My hands were still a little shaky on the steering wheel. The road was quiet. The streetlights passed one by one. Yellow light, dark road. Yellow light again. I kept thinking about the kitchen. I kept seeing Mark's face. I kept hearing his words again and again. "The cook eats last." "You should not eat before me." "In my house." Those words stayed in my head like a loop. I felt tired. I felt confused. I felt heavy inside. When I arrived at my apartment, I didn't even turn on the main lights. I just dropped my bag on the floor and sat on the sofa. My body felt weak, like all energy was gone. I stared at the wall for a long time. I asked myself again, did I do something wrong? I didn't have an answer. I rubbed my face with my hands. I felt frustrated. I felt lost. I felt like I was stuck between two ideas. One idea said respect matters. The other idea said hunger matters too. I lay down without changing clothes. I just lay there. My eyes were open. My mind was not calm. After a while, my phone vibrated. One message. From my mom. I slowly picked it up. It said, "You should have gone back to the garage and called him again. He was still working. He didn't hear you properly." I stared at the message. I felt my chest tighten again. I whispered, "Again?" Another message came a few minutes later. This time from Mark. It said, "Don't start eating without me again. Just wait next time." I sat up. My heart felt hot. Not angry like shouting, but deep frustration, like something pressing inside me. I said out loud, "I did call him, twice!" But the room was empty. No one answered me. I put my phone down. I covered my face with my hands. I felt tired. I felt misunderstood. I felt like no matter what I did, it would not be enough. I stayed like that for a long time. Later that night, I got another message. This one was from my mom again. It said, "He didn't mean to be rude. He just has his way. Please understand him. Try to remind him more next time." I read it slowly. Try to remind him more. I laughed a little. Not a happy laugh. A tired laugh. I whispered, "How many times should I remind him?" I lay back again. My ceiling looked the same as always. White, simple, quiet. But my thoughts were not quiet. I kept replaying everything. I saw myself walking to the garage. I saw him saying 1 minute. I saw myself waiting. I saw the food getting cold. I saw myself finally eating. Then I saw his face again when he came in. I felt my stomach turn. I felt guilty for a second. Then I felt angry again. I kept going back and forth inside my mind. I should have waited. No, I already waited too long. I should have called again. No, I already called twice. I couldn't decide what was right. It was like my mind was split into two voices. One soft voice said, "Just keep peace. Just follow rules. Don't create problems." Another voice said, "But what about you? What about your feelings?" I closed my eyes. "I don't know," I whispered. At some point, I fell asleep on the sofa. Not deep sleep, light sleep, broken sleep. I remember waking up once in the middle of the night. My neck hurt. My body felt stiff. The room was dark and silent. I looked at my phone again. No new messages, just old ones. I put it back down. The next morning, I woke up tired. My eyes felt heavy. My body felt slow. I made coffee. I sat at the small table near my window. Outside, everything looked normal. People walking, cars moving, normal life. But inside me, it still felt messy. I kept thinking, should I apologize? Then I thought, but I already said sorry. Then I thought, but maybe I still did something wrong. I felt stuck again. Around noon, my mom called me. I hesitated before answering. "Hello," I said. Her voice was soft. "Are you okay?" I paused. That question felt simple, but I didn't know how to answer it. "I'm okay," I said slowly, "just tired." There was a short silence. Then she said, "Mark is not angry now. He just feels that rules should be followed." I closed my eyes. I said, "I followed it for a long time." "I know," she said, "but you should also understand him." I held the phone tighter. "I do understand," I said, "but I also felt hungry. I also felt ignored." She didn't answer right away. Then she said softly, "Maybe both sides are right in some way." That sentence stayed with me. Both sides are right. I didn't know what to say. After the call ended, I sat there again in silence. I felt like I was standing in the middle of two roads. One road was respect and rules. The other road was feelings and personal limits. And I didn't know which one I was supposed to walk on. That evening, I decided not to go to my mom's house. I needed space. I needed time. I texted her, "I will come another day." She replied, "Okay." That was all. No argument, no discussion, just silence. I put my phone down and leaned back in my chair. My mind was still full, but my body felt a little calmer. Still confused, still unsure, but at least not in the middle of that kitchen anymore. I whispered to myself, "What should I do next time?" And I didn't have an answer yet. The next few days felt quiet for me. I still thought about that night again and again. When I was walking, when I was eating alone, even when I was studying, my mind kept going back to the same kitchen scene, the smell of the food, the cold plates, the garage door opening, Mark's voice, my mom's silence. It was all mixed in my head. I felt calm on the outside, but inside I was not calm. I felt like something was still not finished. 2 days later, I got a message from my mom. "Can you come over this weekend? We should talk." I stared at the message for a long time. My first feeling was stress. My second feeling was tiredness. I didn't want another tense moment. I didn't want another argument. But I also didn't want to run away from it forever. So I replied, "Okay, I will come." That Saturday, I drove again to my mom's house. My heart was not heavy like before, but it was still not light. It was somewhere in the middle. Calm, but careful. When I arrived, my mom opened the door quickly. She smiled, but I could see something in her eyes. She looked worried. She looked like she didn't sleep well. "Hey," she said softly. "Come in." I walked inside slowly. Mark was not in the living room. The house was quiet. Too quiet. I sat on the sofa. My mom sat next to me. For a few seconds, neither of us spoke. Then she said, "He is in the garage." I nodded. We waited a moment. Then I said, "I don't want a fight." She nodded quickly. "Me too." Another pause. Then I asked, "Did he say anything about me?" She hesitated. That hesitation told me everything. "He thought you were upset with him," she said carefully. I leaned back. "I was upset," I said honestly, "but not because of hate. I was just tired. I felt ignored." She looked down. "I told him that," she said. I sighed. After a few minutes, I stood up. "I think I should talk to him." My mom looked nervous. "Are you sure?" I nodded. "Yes." I walked slowly toward the garage. My steps were slow. I could hear my own breathing. When I opened the door, I saw Mark sitting at his work table. Same place, same small model car, same focus. He looked up when I came in. For a second, neither of us said anything. Then he said, "Hey." I said, "Hey." Silence again. It felt strange. Not angry this time. Just uncomfortable. I took a breath. "I don't want problems," I said slowly. "I really don't." He nodded, but didn't speak. I continued. "I respect you. I respect this house. But I also need you to understand something." He looked at me more carefully now. "I can wait," I said. "I really can. But I need a clear time. If you say 1 minute, I can wait. If it becomes 20 or 30 minutes, I don't know what to do." I paused. "I feel hungry," I feel unsure. And then I feel like I did something wrong no matter what I choose. My voice was calm but honest. He didn't interrupt. That surprised me. I added, I cooked because I wanted to help, not to be stressed. Another silence. This time, it felt different, less heavy. Then, Mark leaned back in his chair. He rubbed his hands slowly. I didn't think about it like that, he said finally. I stayed quiet. He looked down for a moment, then said, In my home when I grew up, the cook always waited. It was just a rule. I never questioned it. I nodded slightly. I understand, I said, but times are different, and people are different. He looked at me again. This time, his face was not angry, not strict, just thoughtful. After a long pause, he said something I didn't expect. I think I was too strict. I blinked. He continued, You did call me. I just got too focused. I didn't notice time. I felt something loosen inside my chest, a small relief. He stood up slowly and walked a little closer to me. I'm sorry for going too hard on you, he said. I didn't expect that word. Sorry. It felt strange, but also good. I nodded. Thank you. Then I added, I'm also sorry if I disrespected you. I didn't mean it like that. He nodded back. For the first time in days, the air felt lighter. Not perfect, not fully solved, but better. Then he said, Maybe we just need a new rule. I looked at him. He continued, If I'm not there in 15 minutes, you can start eating. I thought about it. Then I smiled a little. That sounds fair, I said. He nodded. And I will try not to disappear in this garage so much. I gave a small laugh. My mom, who was standing at the door, finally smiled too. A real smile this time. That evening, we all ate together. This time, Mark came on time. No delay, no waiting too long. The food was warm. The table was quiet, but peaceful. No tension, just normal dinner. At one point, I looked around the table. My mom was eating calmly. Mark was eating slowly. I was eating without stress. And I realized something simple. It was never really about food. It was about communication, about timing, about understanding each other. After dinner, I helped clean the dishes. Mark didn't stop me from eating first this time. My mom didn't look worried. Everything felt more natural. Before I left, Mark said, Thanks for cooking. I nodded. No problem. As I walked to my car, I felt something I hadn't felt in a while. Peace. Not perfect peace, but real peace. In my car, I sat for a moment before driving. I thought, maybe small talks can fix big misunderstandings. I started the engine and smiled a little. Because sometimes people don't need to win. They just need to understand each other. Moral lesson. Sometimes conflicts happen not because someone is bad, but because people have different habits and expectations. Talking calmly and honestly can solve problems better than anger or silence.